Today we're going to be doing some urban hiking in the Steel City, Pittsburgh, PA. We're currently between two buildings, and that's where this waterfall sidewalk area is. And then we're going to walk down to Point State Park, do some exploring of that area. Then we're going to walk back up to where we were, and we're going to get up on top of a roof, and we're going to look out over the city and take in the views. This is more of that sidewalk area with the waterfalls on the sides, just really pretty, so I wanted to get some more footage of that before we moved on to the river. For this shot and the next shot, I was kind of holding the phone out over the water in hopes that I wouldn't drop it, but also in hopes that it looked like I was kind of out in the river. Down at the end of that path, it comes out to the riverside that we're seeing here, and it's about 0.4 miles walk down the riverside to get to Point State Park. So we're going to take in the views on the way and then explore the park itself. You'll see a lot of these yellow bridges going back and forth across the river as we walk down towards Point State Park. Here's a quick map of the cultural district, and the red dot shows where we are. Looking closely here, the logo says Pirates, so I assume this is the Pittsburgh Pirates baseball stadium that we're seeing here. Pittsburgh has these invisible ecologies, and they're basically these cement birdhouses. Here we get a closer view of the baseball stadium. Further down the river, there was some really nice artwork along the riverside as it gets closer towards the park. We've now kind of reached the very start of Point State Park, and across from it is Acrisure Stadium where the Pittsburgh Steelers play. And then up in a little bit further into the park, it gets more green and grassy and more park-like. There's also these awesome bridges within the park, and they have some really nice rock patterns down in the water. I'll try and zoom in on those here. Also in the park, there's a lot of historic features, and in this case, here's the Fort Pitt Museum, and you'll see more of this kind of thing as we tour. Here we have a map of Point State Park, and you can see where we are, and behind it there's a building that kind of looks like a cathedral almost, with the really cool architecture at the top. In the background here you'll see a fountain, and that's actually much larger than it appears right now. We'll get a closer look at that in just a minute. I was able to capture 2 goldfinches on camera, and I didn't even know that was a type of bird, but yeah, lucky to catch those. And then I'm not sure what this bird was on top of this roof here, but I thought it was pretty cool. It was just sitting right on the peak. It would have been really cool to zoom in on some of these shots super far, but unfortunately this is the video that I took before I got the zoom upgrade, so I'm not able to zoom in quite as far as I'd like to on some of this, but I was still able to get pretty good shots with the phone. This is the big fountain at Point State Park with the Pittsburgh Steelers Stadium in the background where they play football. This is the Duquesne Incline. It has some trolleys that go up and down the hillside there. It was opened in 1877, and I'll put a picture up on the screen here of the view from on top of it. This is just a picture I pulled from online. I wasn't actually able to go up and view it as I was at Point State Park on the other side of the river. After getting some better shots of the fountain, then we're going to head back into the grassy area and check out more Point State Park along with some of the more river views. And then we're going to go up to the rooftop and get some nice views of Pittsburgh. Here I was able to capture a robin, and it was on the move. At the park, there was this side path leading up to a bridge, so I wanted to get up there and get some shots that we couldn't get from the park, and of some of the architecture that we couldn't see from the ground. If you look in the upper right, you'll notice the clouds are starting to get darker, and it looks like it's almost going to rain or storm. So this was my cue to start heading back down the bridge and towards the buildings. And once I got to the buildings, I realized that it wasn't actually going to rain, so that's when I ended up on the rooftops. There's also the Pittsburgh airport nearby, and that's why I was able to capture this plane and the plane earlier that were coming in for a landing. Now you'll see we're back at this original bridge area, and now it's up to the rooftop, and we're going to view that bridge from the rooftop looking down, and there's actually a train crossing it at this exact moment. This rooftop actually had a garden on it, and I think it's part of a movement in cities where you put greenery on top of your roofs, and it helps with sun absorption and things like that, and just makes it a little bit nicer. Here I caught the end of the train, and I kid you not, I panned to the right, and there's this hut floating down the river. I think this is kind of a boat option that you can rent and take out on the river and have little parties and things like that. Now there's obviously so much more to explore in Pittsburgh, so maybe we'll come back sometime and hike some other parts of it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.